IP of Bizarre Interest Productions, and breaking news time. Forget everything because Digimon Beatbreak is bringing the Digimon franchise back for its 11th anime series, which will be airing at the start of Spooky Season, October 5th, 2025. Let's go. In a world that has developed through emotionally generated energy, that's fine with me. Japan's always been anti-nuclear weapons and don't want another Tohoku situation. Digimon are emotion-devouring digital life forms lurking in the shadows. The plot summary details e-pulse from human emotions power AI support devices called Sapotama. As such, huge advancements are made, terrifying monsters appear in the shadows. Creatures that devour e-pulse and digivolve are called Digimon. Geckomon is born from Tomoro Tenma's Batoma, and their meeting leads Tomoro to a strange new life. As he works with Kio Sawiro and his bounty hunter team Golden Dawn, Tomoro makes a new decision. What is the new future that humans and Digimon will create? First off, love the tagline, glitch the future. Second of all, thanks to the plot summary, it actually helps put what we saw in the trailer I reacted to in a short, much more depth and with more detail. So the fact that Tomoro indirectly created Geckomon means that ideally, when the trailer has Geckomon save Tomoro and asks him, show me more of your beat, it's because he wants Tomoro to show the inner emotions he has deep inside that motivated his creation. After all, they're supposed to be partners, which we'll talk about in just a moment. So let's talk about Digimon Beatbreak's main cast. Alright, looking at his bio, we're going to talk about Tomoro Tenma, who is our protagonist. 15-year-old, first year in Japan's high school. Remember, they only go for 3 years, so he's basically a freshman. He takes a critical look at everything. Oh, he's like me, but more cynical. Influenced by his older brother, interesting. The last Digimon protagonist to have a sibling, if you don't count Gambamon, would be Takuya and Marcus, though the latter actually gave her character focus, so I'm willing to see how that dynamic plays out throughout the series. I do like him having a hobby of drumming. See, Ty Davis and Takuya were also into soccer. Takada was into card games. Marcus was into street fighting, in real life, not the game. Taiki played whatever sports, as well as Tageru, because he was mostly trying to emulate Taiki. Haru was into reading. Hito was more chill, but down to earth and just helped anyone out. So I'm glad this is distinct compared to the others like Haru. Based on the trailer, he seems reluctant to join, but likely because of Geckomon, he'll end up participating, and given that he already believes that ideals are boring, it's going to be interesting to see how he grows and develops from that. Also, anyone else hungry for Hamburg steak? Been a while since I have one. Maybe sometime this weekend. Tomorrow's voice actor, Miyu Irino, has done a few familiar voices to me. He was Astral and number 96 in Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal, Hedo in Dragon Ball Super Superhero, the new voice of Sabo from One Piece after the original... What did he... 2 seconds research later. Oh, he actually thinks I have to research for this channel. And Tsubasa from Metal Fight Beyblade? Yagoro from Naruto Shippuden? He's the voice of Sora from Kingdom Hearts in Japan? Okay, I'm interested. So, let's talk about Geckomon. Digimon protagonists, well, the main Digimon of the protagonist tends to usually be lizard themed, and having Geckomon is a creative choice. Personally, I was aiming or thinking it was going to be more of a chameleon from the teaser that we got months ago, but geckos are pretty cool too. That's an underrepresented animal in terms of protagonist animal motives. That being said, I need to see a crossover between him and Ghost Game because just like Gamamon, he's always hungry and sticking his appetite and sticking their nose into everything, and charges ahead without thinking about the consequences. Oh, we don't know if they have a gender because Megumi Han is like one of the biggest voice actor names in the industry, and she has voices for both men and women, so we'll see. Because like, she voiced Witchmon in Ghost Game, Aryu and Young Hunters, and TK and Digimon Adventure 2020. Also, I kind of agree, patience is overrated. If patience was a factor into anything, I wouldn't have started this channel. But in all seriousness, use it whenever it's necessary. Also, Geckomon likes minced meat, so at least they can bond with Tomoro with something after all. Next up is the lead girl, Raina Sakuya, voiced by Tomoyo Kurosaka. She seems to be older than Tomoro by 1 year, so she's a second year, and is described as a loose cannon that attracts enemies on the front lines, but she runs out of a pulse and collapses trying to break through stalemates. Hey, just like me at the gym! Not a fan of jelly though, and she enjoys collecting plushies, cute, but she dislikes snakes. It's okay, they don't bite. At least the good ones, though. Would she and Murvermon eventually get along, though? I need to see that interaction. But I do like having a rather introverted and insecure protagonist mixed with an extroverted and bombastic secondary protagonist, so I'm looking forward to seeing her dynamic with Tomoro. Now, her partner, Pristimon, voiced by MutsumiTamura, is kind of adorable for a puppet raccoon, and is described as having a big sister personality. And apparently they grew up like family with Raina since they were a young age, so I'm curious to see in this timeline, in-universe, how long have Digimon been active in the universe? Also, if you're picky about work, you'll go hungry. Mood. So she might be a girl, which is interesting because Ghost Game flipped the genders of the Digidestined and their partner Savior Hero. And the last lead girl to have a girl Digimon partner was Iru from Young Hunters. And she's not even technically a main character, so Yoshi and Lalamon, since Nene Sparamon was, I think, a boy in Japan, and Murvermon didn't play a role until season 2 of Crosswords, but hey, glad we finally have that type of partnership again. That's neat. And third is the third member of the trio, Makoto Kuanji, voiced by Arisa Sekini. He, not she. Sorry guys, look, Digimon ain't including 2 girls on the main team for a long time. The moment Crosswords even brought up that opportunity, they sent Akari aka Angie back to Earth 9 episodes later. But he's got elements of Izzy, Rei, and Kiyoshiro. The analysis child genius at only 10 years old, who's serious but ruthless with his words, and he's a horror movie fan. Interesting, plus he hates heat too, especially with this weather. Based. But who interests me more is his partner, Chio Poron, voiced by Misaki Kuno, who's been in quite a number of projects. Seems like Makoto's mediator, has an otaku, aka nerd or hobby enthusiast personality, and likes studying everything that interests him, only disliking crowds. He might end up being my favorite of the new Digimon if Geckomon's craziness doesn't rub off on me. Next up is Kio Sawiro, voiced by Yohei Azazkami, the leader of the Golden Dawn. A genius cleaner with top-class abilities, he calls his friends family and cherishes them. That's nice. Only 22, probably fresh out of college, assuming he actually went. Lol, he hates waking up early. He gives Team Dad energy. I really approve. And finally, we have his partner, Murasamemon, voiced by Daiki Hamano, Kyo's partner Digimon. Although it boasts overwhelming strength in battle, it's usually found sleeping in its pre-evolved state, Cougarmon. It's an ultimate level, which I have no idea why half of y'all are going Leomon death vibes. They said they were going to stop doing that trend because they had no idea it was becoming such a reoccurring thing. But he's commander-like, so he probably won't be out in the field much compared to the main 3. Though it would be cool to see him help out in a few fights and help, boost the main characters and get them up to speed. So the head writer and series composition is going to be done by Ryota Yamaguchi, who was the head writer for Digimon Data Squad, aka Digimon Savers. But I'm actually surprised by his resume. He's worked on QQ Sentai Go-Go 5, which was adapted into Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue, and Time Ranger, which got adapted into Time Force. And after Data Squad ended, he was the head writer for Doki Doki Precure, one of the most story-driven Precure seasons ever. He's also worked on Future Card Buddy Fight's 3rd season, Triple D, so clearly he's got the experience to write a full-fledged series. And ooh boy, can we see the similarities with Data Squad. From what I could find, like Golden Dawn is in the group in the trailer to Tomoro's recruited to join, which is similar to Data Squad, who hunts down and stops Digimon-related crimes. But Data Squad focuses on a governmental organization with funding, until their funding got cut because Kurata manipulated the government against them. But Golden Dawn is a private group of cleaners that act as bounty hunters on their own. So I am curious to see how they're getting funded and who's hiring and paying for the crew. Tomoro's got delinquent vibes, but he isn't trying to be like teenage Ryu like Marcus was, especially since Reina's kind of doing double duty as the loose cannon, aka Marcus, and the older girl in Yoshino. Makoto is like the smart guy like Thomas and Blonde, but is much younger, and their partnerships members vary greatly in tone. Then there's Kyo, like Samson, who's captain of the Dawn, whose Digimon partner Murasamemon, like Kudamon, is stronger than the rest of the main cast. But Murasamemon doesn't hide his power as much compared to Kudamon did, and Kyo seems much more friendly on the surface. Not to say Samson didn't help, but, he was more reserved than Team Chief. Meanwhile, the director is Toei veteran Hiroaki Miyamoto. He directed the Dream 9 Toriko x One Piece x Dragon Ball Z crossover. He was a storyboard artist and director for some One Piece movies and episodes. He was the director for One Piece Film Gold and also starred Twinkle Precure. And I remember that season having some pretty solid Sakuga action, so he's got enough experience there. Personally, I'm not too worried. Like, there's 3 big names out there that don't like Savers at all, but most of the Digimon fandom considers it on par with Tamers and Adventure, at least on the upper half. Savers was like the first series where everyone, even the supporting Tamers, didn't feel completely left behind. So as long as the character balance is good and everyone's fleshed out, we shouldn't be worried too much. But I'm actually looking forward to this series. I grew up on reruns of the original 4. I caught Data Squad at moments, or really need to rewatch it. I watched Cross Wars' first 2 seasons of this fusion. I watched Try minus some issues. I loved Apply Monsters and found Ghost Game interesting enough. So yeah, I'm excited for seeing Digimon Beatbreak. But tell me your thoughts below. Like and comment, subscribe. Also, let me know, out of the 4 main characters in the Digimon, which one seems like your favorite? Thanks for watching, and BIP of Bizarre Interest Productions, signing off.